Hello, and welcome to True Historic Story Explorers Edition. Today we will take you behind the story of Ferdinand Magellan and his journey around the world. Everyone thinks that this historic sail was amazing and an epic story, but there is much more to it. Today we will take you behind the storybook-style tale and tell you how things really went well on the boat. This is True Historic Story.
That's good.
Ferdinand Magellan was born in Portugal in 1480. Even though he grew to be known as a hero, he had a rough start. When he was 10, his parents died, but at the age of 12, 2 years later, he was appointed to become one of the Queen's messengers. Being the Queen's messenger gave him a good education. He learned about navigating ships and of some of the great explorers. This gave him an interest in sailing and exploring. In 1505, he joined the expedition of Francisco de Almeida to India. This was his first time sailing, and he developed a love for it. Then in 1511, he went on another expedition to conquer Malacca. After the victory, a fleet sailed off and claimed the Spice Islands. His friend Francisco Serrano wrote to him about it. This would be the destination of his future voyage. In 1513, Magellan asked the King of Portugal to finance his voyage, but the king refused because Magellan had argued with commanding officers on previous expeditions. In 1518, he left his native country of Portugal to try to convince the King of Spain to finance his trips. On March 22, 1519, he finally convinced King Charles I of Spain to fund his trip. Magellan was promised one-fifth of the profits from the voyage. Even though the king supported his trip, it was hard to find sailors for his voyage because he was Portuguese. Some of his crew were people released from jail in return for sailing with him. This shows how desperate he was to bring together a crew. The government provided him 5 ships for his voyage. They were the Trinidad, the San Antonio, the Conception, the Victoria, and the Santiago. On September 20th, 1519, they set sail from Sanlúcar de Barrameda. That winter they stayed at Puerto San Julian in southern Argentina. After they stayed there in the winter, they started heading south down the coastline looking for a way to get through South America. In September 1520, a storm destroyed the Santiago, causing a mutiny. Hanging the men who started the idea quickly solved the mutiny. In October 1520, they found a way to get through South America, and they named it the Strait of Magellan after Ferdinand Magellan. It took them 38 days to reach the other side of the ocean. One of his ships was wrecked while they were sailing across it. He was the person who named the Pacific Ocean because Pacific means calm. They began running out of supplies quickly. They had very harsh living conditions and some had to eat rats. Many of the crew members suffered from scurvy. One of his trusted captains left him and took the San Antonio back to Spain. In March 1521, they discovered the Philippines. He made an alliance with the ruler of the island and he agreed to help attack the island of Mactan. He was killed on April 27, 1521 while fighting the Mactan. The Trinidad and the Victoria were the 2 remaining ships and were captained by Juan Sebastian del Cano. The Trinidad tried to go back the way it came to Spain, but they had to return back to the Spice Islands, where the Portuguese captured them. The Victoria was the sole remaining ship because it sailed through the Cape of Good Hope. On September 6, 1522, they returned to Spain with only 18 survivors.
His route wasn't practical to reach the Philippines for trade. However, his journey proved that one could sail around the world and that the world was round. He didn't find exactly what he was looking for and didn't survive, but his faulty ideas and journey helped to benefit society in which he lived. This has been a true historical story. Today we took you onto the boat of Ferdinand Magellan and his crew. We told you how he became the famous explorer that he was. We told you the good and the bad. This has been a true historic story, Explorers Edition.